Good afternoon and welcome to the St. Petersburg College Foundation's second annual Innovation Grants Luncheon. I'm so glad that all of you are with us today. As we start out, I hope you will help me in thanking Noel Rockford. He's a student in our Mira program, and Noel was playing the ukulele for us, and thank you so much, Noel. Last year, the foundation awarded over $50,000 in innovation grants. There were 16 projects funded, and these projects crossed disciplines, they crossed campuses, but they had a common theme, and that was to improve and advance student success. I'm pleased now to introduce the recipients from the 2013 innovation grants. First, Jennifer Baywell. Jennifer's not here. I know there's a parking problem out there. I tried to hold up as long as we could. But if you are here, please stand and be recognized. Sue Blanchard. Meg Delgato. Teresa Caskill. Timothy Godcharles. Monica Lara, Shannon McQuaig, Ray Menard, Marilyn Michael, Nicole Panuthis, Christine Patel, Kathy Sigler, Barbara Stiers. I know Sasha Tuck was going to be a little late. I don't know if she's here yet. Sasha? Okay, we'll catch her later in the program. Lily Tunjarin. And Annalise Williamson. Congratulations to you all. I'm so happy to report that for the second year in a row, Raymond James is underwriting this event, and I can think of no better way to celebrate that than to invite Joe Blanton, who's with Raymond James and Associates and also a member of the Foundation Board of Directors, up to the podium to say a few words from our sponsor. Joe?
Thank you, Francis. Well, welcome to the second annual Innovation Luncheon. We sponsored last year, and we're happy to do it again this year. That means the tab is on us. Since I'm standing here, you would assume that I arranged this, and you would be incorrect. The person who arranged it actually is Doug Gates, Senior Vice President in our St. Petersburg office, who is a longtime advisor to the foundation. And he could not make it. Now, there are two stories as to why he's not here. I'll let you vote on which one you believe. The first one is that he put a bid in accidentally on a African safari and won, so he's in Africa on a safari. The second is that last year he was here, and one of the professors, who I think may be in the audience, had this wonderful, clever way to measure the germ content on your currency and your credit cards. And Doug's count was so high that we did not invite him back because we didn't want his germs in this room. So I'll let you decide which you think of those as true. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. It's a wonderful thing. Innovation is a wonderful thing, and we're looking forward to hearing from some of you individual speakers. Thank you.
Well, I will tell you, both of those stories that Joe shared are true, almost. Doug did win an African safari, and he is in Africa right now on safari with his wife. It's pretty cool, and probably the only reason we accept for him not being here. But he shared with me recently, as those of you who were here last year, we did the experiment. Shannon's students did the experiment, and we did a follow-up, and everyone had been given a number, so there was, everyone was anonymous, and there was one that stood out with the greatest amount of bacteria on their currency, and it was our sponsor. It was done. So thank you for the stories, Joe. Along with Joe, there are several other members of the Foundation Board of Directors with us. And I do want to mention that the Foundation Board sees the Innovation Grants program with $35,000 per year. So we're very grateful to the board for their leadership on this and their vision. They're actually the ones that got this started a couple of years ago. So I would like to introduce the other board members with us. Our chairman, Ken Shervin. Paul Demersion. Beth Horner. Our president, Bill Law. Steve Shepard. Bob Hilton. Director Emeritus, Helen Leslie. And I'm also very pleased to introduce or to stand and be recognized Dick Johnston, who is a former college trustee and also a former Foundation board member. Thanks so much for being with us today. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the chairman of the Foundation Board of Directors, Mr. Ken Shervin.
Well, thank you. I just have a few comments. Each of the grants awarded this year was carefully reviewed by a committee that comprised of the college, the foundation, and community representatives. And I'd like to recognize the committee members and have you stand, please. Diane Byrne, Steve Cole, Steve's not with us today, Helen Gilbart, Calvin Harris, who's not with us today, Steve Shepard, and Lily Tunjaran. Now, I believe we have grant recipients seated at just about every table, so I know they're eager to talk to you about their projects. So I encourage you to learn more about their impressive work as you enjoy lunch today. And then we'll be back with formal presentations after lunch. So if I could, I'd please have you bow your heads for the invocation. Dear Lord, give courage to these young people today to do the right thing, to believe in themselves, and to make a difference in the world. Help us to care more for our environment and to learn to live peacefully between nations. Thank you for your eternal love and guidance. Amen.
The fund for the innovation grants, but the rest of the money comes from our very generous contributors. A lot of you are with us today, and those of you who are with our payroll, our employee giving program are also contributing to that program. We have on your table card a list of all the folks that have contributed to this program. I'd like everyone to take a minute and look at that list because these people are helping to make these projects possible, and we're very grateful to all of you. I truly wish we had time to hear from all 16 of our grant recipients this year. They're all truly outstanding projects. But given our time constraints, we have 4 presentations for you today. We are going to start out with Dr. Susan Blanchard, who will talk about her program, and we'll have 3 presentations that will follow Dr. Blanchard. And so I ask you to give her your attention, and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure and honor to just thank you and let you know the impact that the Innovation Grant has had in the College of Education. We wrote a grant. Yes, I do have my technology badge. We wrote a grant that basically allowed 2 peers at Tarpon and 2 peers at Gibbs campus to mentor our incoming first semester junior students. The leap from lower division to upper division can sometimes be traumatic, and our mentors focused on the transition students. However, we had some other struggling students who also used our mentors. As we wrote the grant, the college was taking a 5 by 180 initiative. And so we looked at the goals of the college and said, how can we do that for our students, for what their needs and abilities are. And so one of the goals was to expand and revise learning support outside of the classroom. Well, our students are very busy. They are taking 15 hours, they're going out to the schools a lot. And so what we did was we made it convenient. The mentors were on the same hall as their classrooms. They were there before and after the daily schedule, and they were there during lunchtime. They also were on the virtual commons 4 nights a week from 8 to 10. So if somebody was panicked, there was a peer mentor there that could talk them down, so to speak. Another of the 5x180 goals was to support classroom faculty in their work to improve student success. In the College of Education, we have some specific assignments like Danielson format lesson plans and behavior intervention plans and ESOL assignments that a general learning support system simply isn't equipped. They don't know the jargon of education. And so our peer mentors knew this. They have all been through the courses that the juniors were going through. And so they were able to come alongside the juniors and understand what the assignment was. And because of that, the faculty felt freer to refer students out for extra help. This helped the faculty in the time that we spend. Our time then could be more targeted. Another 5x180 goal was to increase the course success rate, here it comes, without lowering standards. These are going to be the teachers of your children and your grandchildren. We don't want to lower standards, but we do want them to succeed. There is that retention element. And so our peer mentors were instrumental in supporting outside of class scared learners, shall we say, afraid learners. Can I do this? Is this really something I can handle? And they assured them that we've all felt that way at one time or the other. We asked our peer mentors, when we were training them, we said, well, what does it take to succeed in the College of Education? And they said, well, the academics you have to get into the college, but there are some, specific education academics. But what really is the struggle, according to our mentors, and I think they hit it on the head, is time management and organization. How do we get more done in the same amount of time? And so they spent most of their time helping our new students organize their syllabi, their calendars, studying efficiently, not just reading without connecting. And they tell me that this is where they spent a lot of time. They also spent quite a bit of time in perseverance. Sometimes you just have to keep on going. But you need somebody beside you to say, you can do this. You're not the only one who's felt this way. You can do this. Our Tarpon peer mentors I want to share with you. The total contact was 25 to 45 a week of students. And our Tarpon mentors set as a goal that any student they worked with would stay in the College of Ed. And I can report to you that every student that they worked with last spring is re-enrolled this fall in the College of Ed. And for that, we want to express our appreciation, certainly for the flexibility that allows this kind of tailored individual innovation, and for the freedom to implement ideas without so many encumbrances, and you can read that, too much paperwork. And certainly for your support of future teachers. For this innovation support, we thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Christine Patel and I'm on faculty. I'm a full-time faculty in the dental hygiene program, baccalaureate degree completion program, which is completely online. I've been at the college for about 22 years, just started my 22nd year, and I'm thrilled to be here and so incredibly honored to share with you what's happening on our campus over at the HEC campus. My grant that I wrote and was awarded is called an interdisciplinary approach to healthcare education. And I thought it would be a good idea to first explain and define what this topic really is all about. With that said, you can read the slide, the World Health Organization, when students from 2 or more professions learn about, from and with each other to enable effective collaboration and improve health outcomes. Focus on that bottom line, improve health outcomes. The Institute of Medicine also recommends educating the future workforce by establishing interprofessional learning activities within academic institutions. So basically, in a nutshell, about a year ago, I went to our provost on our campus and I said, I have an idea. I've been reading a lot and researching a lot about this thing called interprofessional, interdisciplinary. Those 2 words are interchangeable, of how in a healthcare environment, healthcare professionals are working together on a team for the better outcome of our patients. Does that make sense? Would you want your healthcare providers collaborating, working together, communicating more effectively with one another, and respecting each other's roles for the best treatment for you? So with that said, I went to the provost and I said, I have an idea. We had the perfect setup here on our campus. It is entirely devoted to healthcare disciplines. Go for it. And that's what I did. And I thank you for the grant because it has pushed us forward with this. Let me share a little bit about our timetable, what we are doing, what we have done, and hopefully we want to continue this push because I truly believe with all my heart this is the way we need to educate our healthcare students for the workforce and for a better overall country, a healthier country. Last fall, I went to the provost, talked to him about it. We had an actual patient simulation. Trying to incorporate interprofessional education in order to get healthcare, interprofessional healthcare, takes a lot of logistics, a lot of phone calls, a lot of perseverance, but we did it. We actually had our first patient simulation. If you can imagine dental hygiene students working alongside of our EMS students with our nursing students on board as well, treating a simulator. We borrowed the simulator. That patient was placed in our dental hygiene clinic. At the same time, we were serving the community. That simulator actually mimicked a heart attack. Our dental hygiene students took action. Part of that action was to summons EMS students. They came into the clinic with the nurses observing. Everybody eventually wind up in the scene in the nursing department. And the patient was saved, and he's out playing golf right now. No. However, the most important part of all that was the debriefing afterwards. And boy, I can tell you, that patient simulation where we had an interprofessional team working together, students, faculty, administrator, I'm telling you, it was well received. Spring 2013, we have implemented Luncheon Learns. I'm very happy to say that they're still continuing. Mary Gerst is working with me with these Luncheon Learns, in which our first one, we had about 30 participants. Our last one, we had over 90. It's gaining popularity. In one classroom, we have administrators, we have faculty, we have students. And we are all listening and collaborating on topics, healthcare topics, that we all have to work with every day. Things like medical ethics and research and Alzheimer's patients. All right? And we're collaborating together to problem solve, make decisions for the better health outcomes. This fall, back in August, we had an expert come from the University of Florida come and speak to our faculty, administrators, and some students were present to talk about interprofessional healthcare. This is where it's at. It's not a whimsical idea. This is an entire paradigm shift that's going on in our healthcare system. Our healthcare system needs help. And by educating our students, they will be well prepared to work on any team that they are asked to do so in the community. With that said, we are now collaborating with our university partnerships, University of Florida, NUHS, Barry University, and of course all of our SPC healthcare disciplines on our campus. We are actually going to be doing a team-based learning. If you can imagine 130 students from 5 different disciplines meeting in the auditorium in October, sitting at a table together, breaking up in teams, sitting at a table and working together, communicating, respecting each other, and working on solving the problems of a particular patient that's brought their way. So we're very, very excited about that. We're going to be doing that also in spring. So as you can see, we're collaborating with each other. We are teaching our students to work together as a team for the better health outcomes of our community. Here's, I just added some photos. This is actually our patient simulation. You can see the dental hygiene students, that's our clinic. You can see EMS students behind them with their stretcher and all their equipment coming in. At the same time, as I said, we were treating and serving our patients of our community. They probably were thinking, what's going on here? We're very cutting edge, St. Pete College. I'm very proud to say that. It's an honor to work here. Here's another picture of our patient simulations. Here's dental hygiene students talking, collaborating with the EMS students, sharing medical history situations, what's going on, what went on, what have you done so far, so forth. Here's another picture. That's one of the instructors, the EMS instructors behind that gowned student overseeing things. And this is the debriefing afterwards. We have nursing faculty, students, we have EMS students and faculty, and of course dental hygiene was also present. Okay. This is a flyer that we have put together, interdisciplinary education for our Luncheon Learns. We have electronically put this together. Mary Gerst actually designed this, and then this is actually electronically sent out to everybody on our health education campus to enlighten them, and please come to them. As I said, they're gaining popularity. We're actually looking for a bigger venue now because we don't have enough room in our classroom. So, and of course, lunch is always enticing, but they really get it, and they really want to participate and work with each other as a team. This is just a picture of a lunch and learn that we've had. And then this is as I said before, in the fall, we collaborate with the University of Florida, and we will be working with them again in October with their pharmacy program. But this was just a cake to sort of get us together. UF coming, kicking a IPE, interprofessional education football, through the goal of SPC. And so that was a lot of fun, but it sort of got the thought across of what we're trying to accomplish on our campus. All right, thank you very much, and we're going to keep this momentum going, I'm hoping, and because this is the way we need to educate our students, and students love it. They really understand what's going on with this, so I thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Tim Cottrell. I'm one of the instructional design technologists. My name is on the grant, but we all worked very closely together. For those of you that were here last year, we had a very similar grant last summer, but it was geared towards blended instructors that taught face-to-face but wanted to develop a blended version of their course. So we put them through a relatively intensive course, and on the other end of it, the idea was that they had a blended course ready to go. Well, this year's target was online, for teaching online. So we were targeting faculty that taught face-to-face, but were interested in making an online version of their course. How we selected faculty was we sent out a survey to the college, asking anybody who was interested. We informed them up front that there was going to be quite a bit of work involved. And to our surprise, just like last year, a lot of people were very interested in this. And I think that some of them underestimated the amount of work that's involved. But on the other end of it, they were very, very excited about what they had learned and what they created. So this is an example of the rubric that we used to select faculty. When all was said and done, we had 10 faculty that were selected. 8 of them were able to complete everything, because I think that along the way, some realized that it was unrealistic for them to be able to do the amount of work that was involved. So your contribution, the grant, allowed us to, among other things, buy a resource of books for these faculty members. But also these books now reside on each of the major campuses in the faculty development centers. So these are resources that any instructor can use, but we also provided a library for the faculty that were selected. So this class was a blended class, just like last year's was. The first part of it was they went through modules in Angel that set them up for what we were going to be doing in the intensive face-to-face portion. So it really was like a boot camp, because there was quite a bit of work that they had to do on their own, and they really ran into some of the issues that their students run into with the technology, asking them to make a video introduction or the other things that we asked them to. It was interesting to see them come up against some of the things that quite often they hear their students say they come up against. So I think as an instructor, it's always important to never get so far away from the student experience that you can never identify with what your students have to go through or what your students have to endure. So this is a snapshot of our online portion, and here's some images from the face-to-face portion. So we met for 4 days. One of those days was a Saturday, and believe it or not, we had to ask the faculty to leave on that last Saturday because we were ready to go home. They were very, very excited and very interested and engaged. And it was, last year they were very engaged too, but this year it was like a whole nother level. Having to ask them to leave was really something else. So we did this on the Seminole campus in the new Witt-Seattle area that's just recently been released. And there was a lot of interaction, and this group really bonded. They were hugging each other at the end of it, which was really amazing. They really had experienced something pretty powerful together. And here's one of...
We talk a lot about critical thinking at SPC, and I feel like making thinking visible and using those thinking routines is really going to help me actually do that, especially with my developmental students. It could be like pulling teeth sometimes to ask them to go home and read something and then have them, come back to class and ask sort of the basic comprehension questions, or what did you think of this, or what did you read about, or tell me the 3 main points. I feel like getting them to think in a new way and getting them involved in these thinking routines is really going to improve my students' success, not only in my class, but hopefully give them some thinking routines that they can take and implement in the classes that they move on to after they leave the world of developmental ed.
So that was only one of the faculty. That was Amy Carroll. She teaches developmental education. There are other faculty recorded also, but we can't show everything here due to time. If you're interested in that, you can see it on the SPC IDT YouTube channel, or the whole collection. And it's really amazing to hear each faculty member recount what they got out of it, because everybody got something that was a little bit different. Now, what this is going to allow the instructional design technologists to do is build what our future is going to look like for training faculty coming to SPC, because we're going to be splitting apart what we have now into 4 different components. There's actually a 5th, but that's a smaller portion of it, and that these 4 main courses that are going to be developed are teaching online, developing for online, teaching for blended, and developing for blended. So this is really our roadmap for the future here, particularly as we move to a new system within the next year. So your contribution in this grant has really allowed us to create a foundation for us to build from and really have something that we really hope and we're encouraged to think about it being a very powerful and substantial learning process for new faculty that come in, so that they're really prepared and ready to elevate students and help students perform. So thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Monica Lara. I teach biology at the Clearwater campus, and my project, the funding, went to help support the really startup funds for a research lab in marine science, marine biology. And thank you, Teresa, for the little swimming fish. That's really cute. And so when I first started here, my background was in research. I was at University of Miami and NOAA, working on a lot of different marine biology research programs. But even then, we started a program where we got students from University of Miami undergrads to come into our lab, get work study money, and start to help us with our projects. And so we had several students that were there throughout their baccalaureate degrees, and they are both now getting PhDs. So I knew that this was something that was, when we talk about critical thinking and we talk about student success and retention and passion, that this was a way to get those students to understand what science was about and to not just hear about it in a classroom, but to really experience it and really know what it means. So we now have a whole bunch of students who come in and are working on several different projects. These are students out on our boat, in the kayaks, putting out some traps. There's a student that's diving, collecting samples. Some of our equipment, that's a trap to catch little fish babies, working in the lab, and then some of the samples that are collected in the jars and in the microscope. And so the way that we manage so many students and so many projects is that we kind of keep everything under certain projects, certain topics, and then they all get to do their own thing. So who's involved right now is, when I made this slide a couple weeks ago, we had 8 students, but now it's more like 14. We had a meeting the other day and there were 14 students in there, and I'm like, where did you guys come from? So, it's students recruiting other students. It's me recruiting students from my classes. And so it's growing, and we have to be able to, get everyone in there together. So we meet 2 or 3 times a week now. I see them every day. They follow me around everywhere. So we have 2 students that are actually getting credit in the baccalaureate program for undergraduate research. So they're getting class credit for doing their projects. Hopefully we'll have more students who can do that in marine science. And we have most of the students that are 2-year students, and most of them came from not being science majors. They either took a scuba class and they heard about the research and they came in, or our students are now taking scuba classes so that they can get underwater and do their stuff. And so they're recruited from non-majors classes, and they said, this is really what I like. I had a student who said, I always thought that I'd come to college and have somewhere where I could talk science, nerdy stuff to students, and there's no place to do that. And I thought, we really need somewhere. We need a lab. We need to have this atmosphere that we had before. And so I have a student who found me online. She's a Swiss student, half Brazilian, half Swiss. She goes to college in Switzerland. She was here for the summer to visit her dad, and she persisted. So much bureaucracy, they fingerprinted her, they did all sorts of stuff, but she kept on and I kept on, and we got her as a volunteer, so she's been working with us all summer. The students come from, I don't know where they come from, from Facebook, from their friends, but they hear about it, and there's 2 of us who are mentoring, and that's me and Dr. Matthews, who teaches scuba and oceanography, and so we team together and take them out on the boat and get their samples and things like that. So the process is we have these umbrella topics, and the umbrella topics are looking at the natural and the artificial reefs that are in shallow water off our coast, so they're relatively easy to get to. It's a natural laboratory for us. The question is whether those artificial reefs are recruiting new organisms. So are they really helping, or are they just pulling stuff from other places? So we compare it to the natural reefs in lots of different ways. The other project is, my specialty was early life history of fishes. So where are the larval stages, the juveniles, and how does that work into the whole conservation and fisheries biology kind of thing? And so all of the projects are within that. Of course, we work on it's not just fish, it's plankton. There's people working on tunicates. There's people working on worms, on stuff that, was algae, things that are not our specialty, but we learn it and we teach it, and they teach each other, and that's the thing. The students, when they first come, they said, well, I don't know what I want to do, and I said, that's perfect. You just help everyone else. You come in and you help them with their projects, and you ask them and you talk to them, and they do it themselves. The students who are already doing it just can't wait to tell the other students how to do stuff. They love ordering other students around. They love to tell them how to do stuff, what to do, how, what they're doing, what they're learning. And so they train each other, and that's really amazing. new students start to think about their own part. They want something that's theirs. So I could do this twist to it. I could do this part of it. Can I do this new thing? And so they start to develop their hypotheses, their questions that they have. And so with that, then we will all work together because we talk a lot about things. And so they refine their research and they keep helping each other with their work. And now they have this culture of helping each other. So the projects aren't one person doing their thing. I said, we need to put out traps. 6 people show up to go out in kayaks to put out the traps. And not only that's the fun part, but I'll walk in and there's 6 heads bowed over trays of worms. And they're all talking and laughing and having a great time. And I'm like, you guys are picking worms and you're having a great time. So they get this culture of like, we're working together. So towards that background, what we've done this year is I said, we really need to know the background of all these projects, and everybody needs to know what everybody else is doing. So we kind of started like a formal paper thing that you do in graduate school, and so the students find a scientific journal article that has to do with their project, and they present it to the other students, and then we put it online, and everybody reads all of the papers, and then we come back and discuss it. So they're learning each other's work, so they're learning a lot of different things. And they've learned what it's like to have a real deadline. We went to 4 conferences last semester, and they busted their humps. They were in there all day, over the weekends. I'd have to come in and open the lab, go grade stuff so they could be down there working. And they actually won Best Poster at one of those, and it was a professional conference. It was the Florida Association of Benthologists meeting. And then we get new students, and so we start over, and it's a cyclical thing. Then those students teach the other students. And, I'm there to guide them, but they are doing a lot of it themselves. They're finding their way together. And so learning, what are they doing? We talk about scientific method. Honestly, I try in lectures to get them to come up with answers and things, but what better way of teaching scientific method than to have them have to come up with their own question, have to test it, design an experiment to really do it, and they don't get it until they really start to think about it. And so that experimental design, they get this area of expertise. They go around saying, I'm the worm guy. Like it's a good thing. And so, they have this area of expertise, whether they stay with it for their lives. Brittany, my student's here, she's the plankton girl. So whether they stay with it for their lives and do that as a career, or whether they move on to something else, they have that idea that they're an expert in something. And so they learn that, they learn the teamwork. We always say, group projects. We should do group projects. Students hate group projects. They honestly do, because there's always a student who does everything, and the other students don't. And so they hate it, and I don't like it either. So the way that we get them to do it is, you have your project. If you don't help other people, no one's going to come help you set the traps when it's time for you to do it. And you want to help those students because it's your project. You want to help them because you want your project to succeed. You are responsible for your own part, even though you are part of a greater thing. So it does work. Like I said, we're doing the scientific literature now. Critical thinking it boils down to solving problems. And so these students daily, how to build something, how to take the sample better, where they should take the samples, all of the intricacies of how to do an experiment and what questions they're going to ask, and asking the right questions. All of that is critical thinking, and it's happening on a daily basis as they talk to each other and as they do this work. What I have overheard conversations of, these discoveries that are made, these inventions they come up with of how to do things, it's miraculous, it's amazing. And it's something that they would not be doing if they weren't immersed in it and passionate about it and having fun while they're doing it. And there's outcomes that I didn't expect and outcomes that they didn't expect. And so our students have superpowers. Is the truth about it. They have superpowers that they don't know they have. And when they discover what they are, it's amazing, and it serves them for the rest of their life. They also have their kryptonite. They also have their weak points. And sometimes it's even more important for them to know what those are, so that they are aware of that and that they work on that, and that they know what their powers are and what they're not. And so I'm there to help them discover that and to make them use their powers for good and not evil. You laugh, I'm not kidding. So the other things that have come out of this, like I said, we've gone to conferences, and these students have talked to, they're like bowled over. There were real scientists there. I talked to real scientists, and it's like, yes, you did, and you listened to their talks, and then you presented your work to them. I have students who have gotten internships, FWC, Fish and Wildlife, for example. They have met people who might be their graduate mentors, found out about programs where they may go to graduate school, places where they might get a job. They have gotten jobs by being in this whole atmosphere. Having to cooperate, finding out what it's like to work with other people that sometimes bug you. All of this is really important, the life skills that they're getting just by showing up and doing some work. And they have become such professionals in their presentations. I had 6 of them team tag yesterday at the Student Government Association to ask for funding for equipment, for things, for gas money for the boat, things like that, and they got it, and they were amazing. And when they present their stuff and they talk to people about their work, it's a transformation. They came in as, quiet students, and now they can't shut up. So it's become really, something really good. They face their fears or phobias of speaking, of going out in public, of meeting people, and they confront those and they get over it. And they have so much fun while they're doing it. It's amazing that they can have so much fun picking worms out of dirt, like they say. And so what we did with the funds is we bought some equipment. We have tried to outfit so we have more facility for them to do more and better research. And what we're looking to do in the future is, my students came up with this idea. They said, we need references in the lab. We need keys to figure out what these things are. We need copies of some of the paperwork that we got at workshops. And so we need a library in the lab. And I said, well, that's fantastic. We'll get some money for printing and stuff like that. So we got that. We're going to do that. The literature review has been fantastic. They get up and they speak like professionals about a very complex paper that they just read, and they're able to convey it to other students. That is a talent, to be able to take something really technical and be able to explain it to other students who haven't read that and haven't understood it. Like I said, they're recruiting each other. We're getting more students all the time. And we're trying, to do as much as we can to have those students stay and do this work. The club, the Science Adventures Club on Clearwater campus, we also started because students wanted to have an atmosphere where they did science stuff. So we do some fun, adventurous trips, but they have to do with science. They learn geology. We're doing one where we're climbing into caves, and they're learning about cave ecology and conservation. And so those clubs have now kind of become closer, because I found that the students who were showing up to the club meetings were the same ones that were doing the research. So we're like, well, we're going to put it together, And so now we have, we're looking for tools. We're trying to get undergraduate class credit now as well for the 2-year students, and finally gas to pay for Dr. Matthews' out-of-pocket gas expenses. And so I want to thank you very much for your support, and the funding that has been spread so well among the students and all that they are being able to do with this. So thank you.
My thanks to all of the presenters and all of the grant recipients. Your dedication to your profession, your enthusiasm for your projects is truly inspiring. Please help me thank them once again. Without further ado, I get to introduce the president of the college, Dr. Bill Law.
Well, thanks very much. We'll get you out of here in just a second. First of all, my thanks to, I don't know where to start, to the foundation for the work that you are doing on behalf of our students and our faculty. If you don't feel the lift today, you're never going to feel the lift. This is what we live for, is to listen to our faculty talk about how they're engaging the lives of their students, how they're changing those lives. I made notes as we were talking. Your dollars, your support, your focus touched education, health, sciences, music, writing, veterans and student support, culture and enrichment, diversity and inclusion, teaching enhancement. That's a pretty good day's work for It's not a little bit of money, but quite frankly, it's a pretty big bang for the buck. So thank you for what you do. I will tell you, when we were coming together, Ken Sherman, the president of the foundation, the chairman of the foundation, was here, and I said, Ken, it would be hard for me to imagine a college and a foundation that are more aligned in trying to benefit each other. The work that this foundation does is directly in support of the priorities we have in the college. You heard us talk about student engagement. You heard us talk about student success. You heard us talk about active learning for our students. You heard us talk about the growth and development of our precious resource, our faculty and our staff. So, as president, I'll go back, there'll be a stack of emails that have hundreds of problems for me to solve, and I can't, the vice presidents will get avalanched this afternoon. I will dispatch those emails very quickly. But, as we're here today, you should feel very proud of the work we're doing. This is world-class learning. This is what we want for our community. This is what we want for our kids. This is what we want for our college and its heritage. My thanks to the faculty for all the work that they have done. You could go down the list of all of the recipients. One would be just as exciting as the next. We'll see you back here next year with a different list of engagement. Once again, thank you all for your tremendous support. Members of the board, thank you for all you do.